One tree stood alone in 200 miles of sand. No other tree in any direction. Nothing to swerve around, nothing to hit. And in 1973, a truck driver managed to hit it anyway. Let that sit for a second. The country is Niger, nearly 489,000 square miles, almost twice the size of Texas. 3/4 of it is the Sahara, not 1 inch of coastline. If all you know about Niger is a name on a map, here are 5 things that will change that. There's a festival where the men wear the makeup and the women do the judging. There's a tower that is the tallest mud brick structure on Earth, and it has to be repaired by hand every single year. There's an animal that was down to 49 survivors on the entire planet. There are 200 million trees growing here that nobody planted. And then there's that tree. We'll start where the sand runs deepest. Step out of the vehicle just after sunrise, and the first thing you notice is what's missing. No wind, no birds, no shade. The sand is still warm from yesterday and gives under your boots like fresh snow. This is the Tenere. In Tuareg, the word just means desert, which tells you something. The Sahara is already the desert. This is the desert inside the desert. About 150,000 square miles, bigger than the state of California, and almost nothing lives in it. Rising out of the middle of it, like an island in a bone-dry ocean, are the Air Mountains' 9 volcanic massifs. The high point hits 634 feet above Mount St. Helens. From November on, the harmattan carries dust so fine it hangs in the air for days. It turns the sun into a dull orange coin at 2 in the afternoon. Days push past 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Nights drop 30 and you'll want a blanket. Now remember that tree. It was real, an acacia roughly 300 years old, with roots that ran more than 100 feet straight down to reach groundwater. The nearest other tree was 250 miles away. Tuareg caravans treated it as sacred. For generations, nobody cut a single branch for firewood, and nobody let their camels graze on it. Today, there's a sculpture standing on that exact spot, welded together from old pipes and fuel drums. Here's the part I'll come back to, though. The country that lost the loneliest tree on Earth is about to show you 200 million others. 2 more things. Out here, the dunes. Are the map guides navigate by the shape of specific sand ridges, the way you'd read street signs. And the night sky here is one of the darkest on the planet. The Milky Way comes up bright enough to throw a shadow on the sand. All of this was once an ocean floor, then a rainforest. Now it's this. Sand keeps receipts. 5 major peoples share this country. They don't blend into one another, they overlap. The Hausa are the largest, a little over half the population, down south around Maradi and Zinda. The Zama and Songhai live along the river near Niamey. The Tuareg hold the desert north, the Fulani and Wadabe move with their herds, and the Kanuri live east toward Lake Chad. Here's the detail that rearranged my whole idea of the Sahara. Tuareg men wear the tagelmust, an indigo head wrap-up to 15 feet long, and it covers the face. Tuareg women don't cover theirs. The men are veiled, the women are not. The indigo seeps into the skin over years of wear, which is why the world calls them the blue people of the desert. And if I'm honest, I thought I knew what a desert culture looked like. Wrong, at the first detail. There's a Hausa word you'll hear constantly, hakuri. It translates as patience, but not the patience of giving up. It's endurance as a skill, something you practice. The Wodabe call themselves the people of the taboos and live by a code called Pulaku, self-control, modesty, restraint, grace under pressure. And then there's tea, poured in 3 rounds. The first glass is bitter like life. The second, sweet like love. The third, gentle like death. That's not a line written for tourists. That's what people say while they wait. 2 names you may know without knowing they're from here. Bombino was the first artist from Niger ever nominated for a Grammy. Mdou Moctar gets called the Hendrix of the Sahara in the American press, and he played Coachella, same mud brick city. One more number. The median age in Niger is around 15, meaning roughly half. This country isn't old enough to hold a driver's license in the United States. You feel it the moment you walk into a market, the noise, the speed, the teenagers running the place. That city is 590 miles north of here. Agadez, the Grand Mosque, rises out of the old town, and its minaret, 89 feet tall, built entirely of mud brick, packed by hand around the year 1515. It's the tallest structure of its kind anywhere on Earth. Look closely, and you'll see acacia beams sticking straight out of the tower in every direction like quills. Those aren't decoration. That's permanent scaffolding. After the rainy season, people from the neighborhood climb those beams and replaster the tower by hand. A 500-year-old building stays standing because somebody repairs it every year forever. The old town became a UNESCO site in 2013. 11 neighborhoods of red earth alleys, some so narrow 2 donkeys can't pass without a negotiation. And every September out east of here, something happens you won't believe until I show you. Before we put our first footprints on the old salt road, tell me where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. Drop it below. I read them. Picture a February morning 600 years ago. 1,000 camels leave Agadez together, roped in a line so long the man at the back can't see the man leading. Start with the name. Agadez comes from the Tamashek word Agadez, to pay someone a visit, a city whose name is an invitation. The Sultanate of Air was founded around 1404, and Sultan Yusuf bin Aishata moved the capital here between 1461 and 1477. Here's the surprising part. The Sultan's job wasn't conquest. It was arbitration referee between rival Tuareg confederations, keeping the peace so trade could move. That role still exists today in ceremonial form. By 1500, Agadez had around 30,000 people, the main junction between Kano Timbuktu, the northern oases, and the Mediterranean. The Sultan lived on caravan taxes. In exchange, he guaranteed you'd arrive. In 1515, the Songhai Empire took the city, and that same year, the Grand Mosque went up. When Songhai collapsed, Agadez took its independence back. Out in the southeast, the Bornu Empire ran things for over 500 years, from 1380 to 1893. Here's what still runs. The Azalai, the salt road from Agadez, out to the oases of Bilma and Fachi, and back more than 745 miles through the Tenere, one of the last great caravan traditions on the planet. Fewer camels now, but it moves. And within a few dozen miles of that road, in the same sand fossils, 110 million years old, a Stone Age fishing village, 10,000 years old, and cart ruts 600 years old. 3 layers of time, 1 layer of sand. Listen to the rhythm under Tuareg desert guitar and you'll hear it. The beat imitates a camel's walk. Up, down, never quite even. Once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Bombino was born in 1980 in a Tuareg camp at Tenere, one of 17 children. He learned guitar while herding animals in the hours when nobody needed him. His 2013 album Nomad was produced by Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys, and he's played the New Orleans Jazz Fest. Mdou Moctar's story starts with a problem. His parents wouldn't buy him an electric guitar, so he built his own. Then he taught himself technique from Eddie Van Halen videos on YouTube in a town where the power comes and goes. In 2024, that self-taught kid from Agadez walked onto the Coachella stage. Etran de la Year, a family band from the same city, has toured the United States. But here's what nobody puts on the album sleeve. This music wasn't born in a studio. It was born at Agadez weddings, blown out speakers, cables, off a generator, sand, in everything, the neighborhood dancing until sunrise. Musicians here still learn the same way you play weddings until somebody records you. Music here is joy's second job. Six in the morning in Niamey and Katako market is already awake. Charcoal river water, diesel. Women shape millet into small balls one at a time, between thumb and forefinger, roughly 300 in the time it takes you to blink twice. By evening, Boulevard de la République glows, red with acacia charcoal, and goat skewer smoke hangs at shoulder height for a quarter mile. Now go 100 miles out. Villages here often don't have clear edges because people live with their herds, and herds move. The center of town might be a few houses, a school, no power lines, no running water, but there are trees. And out here, a tree isn't scenery, it's property shade, fodder, firewood, and insurance all at once. 3 quick differences. In the city, you take a shared taxi. In the village, you walk or ride a donkey. In the city, you know your neighbor's face. In the village, you know their grandfather's name. In the city, the evening sound is music. In the village, it's nothing at all, its own kind of luxury. This isn't modern versus backward. Both are happening right now, just on different clocks. Late September, when the short rains have just stopped, thousands of Tuareg and Wadabe families drive their herds toward a small oasis town called Ngaul. The gathering is the Cure Salee, the salt cure, because the pastures there are packed with minerals the cattle need after the wet season. For a few weeks, this speck of a town becomes the biggest social event in the Sahel. Old friends find each other. Disputes get settled. Camels race. And inside all of that sits the Gerewol. Here's where everything you assume falls over. At the Gerewol, the men are the ones who get dressed up. They paint their faces in ochre and yellow line, their lips in black stack, ostrich feathers on their heads to look taller, and then they line up, shoulder to shoulder, and dance. Not for 10 minutes, for hours in full sun without breaking the line. The main dance is called the Yake, and while they dance, the men stretch their eyes wide open and pull their lips back to show their teeth, because among the Wadabe white teeth and bright whites of the eyes are the 2 highest marks of beauty. White are taller and able to keep going longest. So who wins? The women decide. Young women watch for days, quietly comparing. Then they walk up to the line and tap the one they've chosen. No panel, No trophy, no argument. Her decision stands, and nobody questions it. In most of the world, women are the ones being looked at. Here, women are the ones doing the looking. That was the biggest thing on this whole route. But it isn't the one I most want you to see. And that one is 17 feet tall, standing in somebody's millet field. If the Gerewol surprised you, that was just the surface. Tuareg society is matrilineal. Descent and property run through the mother, and the tent, the actual house, belongs to the woman. So when a marriage ends, the person who packs up and walks out is the husband. The roof was never his. 2 instruments here belong to women only. The imzad, a single-stringed fiddle played with a bow, and the tender drum. Old belief says a man who plays them brings bad luck on himself. The tende is the best object in this country. It's a grain mortar, the wooden bowl women pound millet in, with a goat skin stretched over the mouth. They build it for one night, then take the skin off, and the mortar goes back to being a mortar. A temporary instrument, a permanent sound. Women have also carried tifina, the ancient Tuareg script, more faithfully than men. And then there's Fatou Seydi Ghali, from a village called Iligadad. She borrowed her older brother's guitar without asking, taught herself, and became the first Tuareg woman to play guitar professionally. Her band, Les Filles de Iligadad, took the women's tend rhythm and put it back inside a guitar style men had run for decades. They keep the tent, they keep the script, they keep the beat, and they choose. That's the well at the halfway point. Half this road is behind us. If the woman owning the tent made you stop for a second, type blue below. Hit subscribe and let's walk the second half together. Deep in the Tenere, there's a 100-mile stretch of rock the Tuareg call Gadoufaoua. The name means the place where camels fear to go. It's the richest dinosaur bed on the African continent. Bones sit on the surface, stained rust red with iron, scattered in every direction. You don't dig for them. You walk and look down. Nigersaurus was a 30-foot plant eater with a wide, straight muzzle and more than 500 teeth that replaced themselves continuously. The internet calls it the dinosaur with 500 teeth. Its name translates to Niger lizard. Alongside it lived Sarcosuchus, a prehistoric crocodile big enough to eat dinosaurs, nicknamed Super Croc. Here's your American connection. The man who named Nigersaurus is Paul Sereno, a paleontologist at the University of Chicago, who grew up in Naperville, Illinois. National Geographic has filmed at least 6 documentaries out here. A dinosaur named after this country in your kid's textbook. 37 miles southeast of Niamey, past the last paved turn, there's a stretch of bush plateau around a village called Cure. Locals call it the giraffe zone. It's the only place left on Earth with West African giraffe. They don't look like the giraffe you've seen at a zoo. Their coat is pale cream with rectangular tan patches, and the lower legs fade almost to white, as if dipped in milk. A big male stands 17 feet tall and weighs around 2,600 pounds. The tongue is 18 inches long, and it can be black-blue or purple. Now here's the part that gets me. They don't live in a national park. No fence, no gate, no ranger station at the entrance. They live in the farmland. They walk between millet fields, past courtyards, past kids on the way to school, and drink at the same water points as the goats. Every single day, these animals and these families share the same ground, and it works because the community decided it should. In 1996, there were 49 of them left in the world. 49. In 2011, Niger became the first country in Africa to write a national giraffe conservation strategy. Today, the population sits between 600 and 670, growing more than 11% a year, and the species has been downgraded on the endangered list. In 2018, and again in 2022, a dozen of them were driven 500 miles by truck to start a second herd in a reserve where giraffe had vanished half a century earlier. 49, then 670. Dambu is the dish people feed you first. Steamed millet, tossed with moringa leaves, served in one big bowl in the middle of the mat, and everybody eats from it. Kilishi is what you'll want to take home. Beef sliced, paper-thin, coated in spiced peanut paste, dried by the Sahara itself. Think beef jerky, except in wide sheets instead of strips, nuttier and hotter. Taguela is Tuareg flatbread, baked directly in hot sand. They pull it out, knock the dust off, and break it apart. Chukau is dried cheese thin as paper, made by nomadic women who use the desert heat as the oven. That's how milk survives a dry season without refrigeration. And in Niamey, grab a plastic chair on the riverbank at sunset and order grilled capitaine from the Niger River. $3 to $5. Best meal in the city, and it isn't close. Out here the sun is also a cook. So what do people actually do for a living? Niger sits on some of the largest uranium deposits on Earth. The mine at Arlit produces around 2,500 tons of uranium oxide a year and employs 2,000 to 3,000 people, most of them Nigerian. But the better export is the onion. The Violet de Galmi is a deep red onion, grown in the village of Galmi for over 100 years. It's the country's second biggest export after uranium, and it made Niger the largest onion exporter in West Africa. Seed for it now sells in the United States, India, and Southeast Asia, so there's a decent chance you've eaten a Nigerian onion without knowing it. Livestock is next. Cattle, sheep, goats, and camels bring in more foreign currency than anything except uranium, and the real number is far higher than the official one because the herds walk across the border on their own. And in Agadez, Tuareg silversmiths still hammer out the Croix d'Agadez, a silver cross with a different design for every region passed father to son. But the most valuable thing this country produces doesn't show up on any export chart. In the 1980s, flying over Maradi and Zinda, you saw one color beige all the way out. The Harmattans stripped the topsoil, buried seedlings in sand, and harvests kept failing. Then farmers noticed something. The visiting experts walked past. Under that empty-looking ground, the old root systems were still alive, still there, just cut back over and over. So instead of planting new trees, they let the old roots sprout, then pruned and protected the strongest shoots year after year. It has a clunky name, farmer-managed natural regeneration. Neighbors thought the first ones to try it were lazy. The fields looked untidy. Then the droughts came. The untidy fields produced a harvest. The clean ones produced nothing. People stopped laughing and started copying. Roughly 200 million trees have come back across 5 to 7 million hectares, the largest positive environmental turnaround in the history of Africa. And nobody was paid to do it. Ali Nino, a farmer from Maradi, says that as a boy, he could see from his village straight to the horizon. Nothing in the way. They didn't wait for someone to bring them trees. They worked out that the trees were already there under their feet. Look at what staying actually costs. Days over 100 degrees. A rainy season measured in weeks. No coastline, no port, and a desert pressing down from the north every year. So why stay? Start with Fatou Sadigali, the guitarist from Iligadad. That village has no electricity, no running water, and hours of hard driving to reach it. After her first European tour, after standing on stages in cities, most people in her village will never see what did she do with the money. She bought cattle, and she went home. When she talks about the future, it isn't about leaving. What she says she wants is more girlfriends who play guitar so they can all be successful together. Then there's Bombino. He spent years in exile in Algeria and Burkina Faso. When he was finally able to return to Agadez in 2010, the homecoming concert was held at the base of that 500-year-old mud tower. More than 1,000 people sang and danced under it. He has an American record deal. He could live anywhere on earth. He picked that spot. And there's a farmer named Rabiu out in Zinda who learned the tree technique and put it on his own land. His words, "Before I used to sow 5, even 7 times before the crops would sprout. Now the first time, it's a success." That year, the harvest was still poor. He filled one granary for himself and a second one for his mother. There are places people stay because they can't leave. And there are places people stay because they put something in the ground and they want to be there when it comes up. Practical stuff, because some of you are already checking flights. Best window is November through February. Coolest, clearest, Harmattan, still light. Budget $60 to $90 a day. March to May is the furnace, over 105 degrees, but cheapest, 50 to 70. June through September brings the short rains and the Sahel flips from brown to green overnight. For the giraffe at Cure, go in the dry season, early morning or late afternoon. For the Cure Salee and Gerewol, it's the last 2 weeks of September, but exact dates come out only a month ahead because they depend on the rains. Plan loose. Costs: shoestring runs $30 to $40 a day, mid-range $70 to $90, with a private guide and four-wheel drive $150 to $250. Currency is the West African CFA franc, and ATMs are unreliable outside the capital, so carry dollars or euros in cash. Paperwork: passport, visa, and a yellow fever certificate. That last one gets checked. Many nationalities can apply for an e-visa online, usually 5 working days. Rules for American passport holders have shifted more than once lately, so verify with Niger's consular officers before booking. Cure was citizens need none. Ground rules: power is 20 volts on European plugs, and outages are routine charge. Everything whenever you have electricity. Over 99% of the country is Muslim. Dress modestly and ask before photographing anyone. Haggling in Zinda or Agadez can halve a price. And drink all 3 glasses of tea. Leaving after the second is a small, quiet insult. One more thing before you close this. Niger is a mud tower that survives because somebody replasters it by hand every year. It's men in ochre paint dancing in the sun so a woman can choose. It's 49 giraffe becoming 670. And it's 200 million trees that came up out of roots the whole world had written off as dead. If you ever stand on that sand, you'll bring home something you can't quite name, because Niger isn't a place you conquer. It's a place that teaches you how to wait. So here's the question I'll leave with you under your own feet. Is there something already there, waiting to be grown? Thank you for staying until this campfire burned down. Subscribe And next time, we'll light another one in Turkmenistan, where a pit of fire has been burning non-stop for over 50 years, and nobody has figured out how to put it out. Until then, see Anjima from Niger.